Hit the mute button on this. Yes. Yes, there we go. All right. Yes, hello. Good morning. This is Dr. Mia Lueth. It is 9:19 a.m. on January 11th, 2026. And this one, it is a Winnipeg Jets game day. Very happy to report that they did actually win their game Friday night. So good for them. I kept saying to some of them, see, I let them know when I go on chats and I talk about ice hockey, because these days in the world it's like listening to the radio and being a call-in show. Right, there's chat-in shows. There are call-ins too, call-in shows, but there's chat-in shows. So chat-in shows are easier for me, being that I am very medically like disabled, shitty people from wherever you come from who've been badgering me and lying to me and practicing your horribly ignorant medicine on me and lying to my face. And, you know, I have no respect for the U.S. Army, USAA, or anyone in the State Department who, doesn't understand that, the Lueth family has someone injured and medically disabled, and she can't rely on the military members of my family because, yes, many of them are dead. Thought military family was supposed to help other military family. Well, that's a big fat fucking lie. I mean, people want truth, so you're going to get truth. Well, I know I sound terrible, but it can't be pneumonia, and it isn't the flu. And I've had this dry cough for months and months and months and months, and weeks and weeks, and yes, years actually, plural. And everywhere I go, they can't. Right, your lungs are clear. We don't know why. Oh, your head is clear. We don't know why. Blah 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 blah. Well, a persistent dry cough can also relate to a severe case of gastroenteral reflux disease, which is commonly known as GERD. But I was by two different doctors, maybe 15, 20, 30 years ago, something, right? I don't know, can't remember. 30, diagnosed with Barrett's esophagus, which is a precancerous situation. And I have had some treatments now. When I've gone to get endoscopies over the last, say, 10 years, there's no sign of Barrett's esophagus, but it doesn't mean that I've been cured of anything. Like, I mean, well, I'm not afraid to die. And I would like to say to the Christians, is it your job to persecute people and ignore them when they need help, and get rich on the suffering of others, and not actually help real in the flesh poor people? Because I have no evidence of that. I mean, you'll pray, but heaven forbid you have to like actually for real help someone. Especially, right, some of the Catholic denominations. Well, at this point on earth, yes, they won't help you unless you are a member of their church and you put money into their big fat fucking wallets. Right. I would say that the situation on earth is almost worse than it used to be, which means I'm expecting some things to happen. Anyway, so people who have fibromyalgia, okay, if you have functional neurological disorder, and if you don't know what functional neurological disorder is, make sure if you are having the effects of fibro, especially when it's a huge fibro flare up. And there's still things about fibromyalgia that have not been researched. I mean, modern medical research doesn't even really know exactly what causes it and exactly how to explain it. But it is one of the worst medical conditions you can have on earth. And it is, in fact, right, been reported to be more painful than certain types of cancer. Um, it's a big pile of shit. Is what it is. So if you know you have fibromyalgia, and okay, just keep doing research. Keep doing research. Reach out to support groups. Like find someone locally who is willing to help you advocate. Okay, because like I've been advocating for myself, and you guys think I'm a fucking problem. And I think, well, you must be looking in the fucking mirror. Okay? The healthcare system in the United States of America reminds me of, like, I think third world countries have it better. And at the very least, they don't know all this crap. So they don't worry about it. I'm speaking truth. Okay? Like I'm not like all paranoid. Oh, the government's gonna want to shut me up. I'm like, well, the government should open up their ears and listen to their actual constituents. Especially those of us who have contributed by being in military families. And by the way, military families, whether veterans of foreign wars or not, have to go through things that civilian families in the United States just plain don't. And we're a bit of a tougher breed. And in an emergency, yeah, you're going to want one of us around because not every single vehicle these days, I mean, there are still some manual shift vehicles in the world today. And yes, we are far more likely than any other type of U.S. American citizen, military family, to know how to drive a manual transmission vehicle. Also, more likely to know CPR and basic field medic information. We, by force, have had to learn to adjust to things, constantly moving around and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I have no respect for any of the military people in the United States, especially not the Navy and definitely not the U.S. Army. I mean, how many times does a person has to ask for help? And they're all saying military family. I mean, there's no one else to help me. My whole family is dead. And we all serve this fucking country. And in some cases, yes, caused us great amounts of harm in a variety of ways. And it didn't just end when someone retired. It didn't just end when a war ended. I think there's some U.S. American citizens who just need to sit down and shut up and think about some stuff before they start, right, like accusing people of things and, thinking for some reason that they're all exceptional and great and blah, 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 blah. Okay, yes, we should be able to work together. Anyway, if you have fibro, and I've had fibro for a long time, so some of these symptoms get worse over time. So, there may be, it's not like all the way out in the public yet, but there may be now like ways to determine stages of it. But there is no cure for it as of today, and it's horrible. So I get both dysphagia and dysphagia. Okay? There's a difference. One of them is spelled with an SIA at the end, and the other one is spelled with a GIA at the end. So in medical terminology, right, one means having problems swallowing, breathing, okay? And the one with the GIA at the end means having trouble vocalizing, getting words out. It's like this weird temporary paralysis where it could be right in the middle of a sentence and your brain just craps out on you. And you can't like think simple things. Like quite literally. There are times when I'm the guy like freaking point at something. I'm like the 3 to 4 prong utensil you use to eat food with. What the fuck is that thing called? A fork. So we also get shit upon because a lot of you don't understand this a medical condition and you think we're stupid or drunk or high or some other fucking thing. This is quite an assumption. A lot of people do that. A lot of you do. And that's just not in the US. I mean, I've had conversations with people outside the US, many of them actually. And people sit around thinking, oh, well, they all must be right. And, homeless people must be, like ignorant, stupid drug addicts. They're the trash of society. And I gotta be honest with you, I think rather the people sitting around laughing at them on, nowadays there's like towns and cities that have, a stationary camera that you can watch from wherever you are on Earth if you have the internet. I see your comments. I mean, you think it's funny when the tweakers, fall down on their face and sleep on the street and do things. No, well, a lot of you do the same shit. It's just right. You have money or leverage to hold that over somebody's head or pay them to keep it quiet for you. Is the only real difference here. I think some people better start trying to restore my faith in humanity because I'm the one who has to make certain decisions about certain things. Anyway, yeah, if you have fibro and like make sure that you at least twice a year look at the latest research. Okay, go to a regular library, go online. Sometimes you can go to like the Mayo Clinic, and sometimes you can even write to people if you are one who does not use technology, which, by the way, you can't force on everyone in the world, even if you think you can. So you're discriminating against a lot of different kind of people. And in the United States, I've been watching companies, businesses, both nonprofit and profit, discriminating against the poor for entirely too fucking long. NATO countries. Okay? Right, check. Because there are weird symptoms, okay, that you wouldn't think would have anything to do with like your neurological, but unfortunately, your neurons, your not neurological system affects every single speck of your body. Okay, so if you have a neurological issue and it is basically a neurological disorder, even though it's not well defined yet, but in the last 10, 20 years, there's been a lot more research, and so it can affect any part of your body. Fibro can. Okay, you get fibro fog, which is very, very similar to PTSD fog. So people who've ever had that or can understand the people who get the fibro fog. It's very, very similar mechanisms. Okay, different triggers, but similar mechanisms. Okay, So it's the same thing with concussion brain fog. All right, it's actual, real physical trauma, and so that might also be a different trigger, but basically same mechanisms that cause brain fog. So there's like three groups of individuals in this world who can all at least understand each other to that point. Unfortunately, because I also have PTSD. Well, I mean, it was called lifelong like 10 years ago. Now it's called something else. I've learned over time. I try to put online. I try to tell people there are some coping mechanisms that might work. Okay, but it is going to depend on why you have this trauma. Um, but yes, I still get jumpy. Fireworks aren't really for me. I will. I have in my life occasionally gone to see fireworks because I am with friends or someone I care about and they want to do it. But at this juncture, I'm just like, okay, well, how about on the 4th of July and on New Year's, at least in the U.S. when they do fireworks, right? There'd be a bunch of like really quiet activities in you know smaller groups planned for a lot of people. And yes, that can include dogs. Cats get frightened, but felines will get frightened, but dogs definitely have, like, it affects their bodies, and it can actually shorten their lives if they're constantly being stimulated that way. Anyway, so that is how someone who, if you know you have fibromyalgia, okay, and you start getting brain fog, and it doesn't see. Here's the thing: is that you can get fibro brain fog, okay, but what you got to do is you got to do a little research. You got to ask your doctors, nurses, people who do research. I mean, universities might have students who are willing to, even do class projects or something, right? So that they can do a passing grade, or somebody's trying to get their master's, and you run across someone with a PhD, and it's like, I really think that I have a different kind of brain fog. It seems like it's a different kind of, right, brain fog. So fibro brain fog is different from dysphagia with the GIA at the end. And it's taken quite a while for me to discern that, but they're definitely not the same kind. Okay. As bad as fibro fog can be, dysphagia with the GIA at the end is much worse and lasts longer. So, people who just have fibro fog, okay, it may not be dysphagia, but if you feel like you're having two different types of brain fog, okay, you might have dysphagia. And I know that I have to be careful, okay? Thankfully for me, not Parkinson's. But I had to go through a lot of stuff because I don't have my medical records from a biological standpoint. So at the very least, in the United States, maybe the state of Maryland, some state just decides to do it and just make it law that when you legally adopt in this, I don't think that would be a federal law. I mean, all 50 states plus territories can adopt the same law, but I think the policymakers really should put that in effect. That, okay, you, like, it can come in the form of an actual real picture of a family tree. I don't even care. It doesn't have to have anybody's names on it, or where they're from, or any other information other than these are illnesses that were recorded. In the known family illnesses, there are 2 heart attacks, This kind of that and Parkinson's is one of them, because the sooner you start concentrating on getting that and looking for the signs of it and being diagnosed with it, the sooner you can start treatment and the less suffering there is. But I know some of you don't give a shit if people suffer, which is very sad to me. Some of you walking around. And I know some people don't care if they hurt other people, which is very sad to me. I mean, you gotta walk around in your own skin. Anyway, okay, so this is one thing that can help discern. All right, so that's one way for people with fibro. Now, fibromyalgia is typically, okay, a part of, you can say a symptom of, or you just can say a part of, um, sorry, words. This is part of fibro, and like the stuttering words not coming out right can also be, yes, having a functional neurological disorder. But if you really start feeling tremors, okay, on the inside, because I was feeling internal tremors and other for quite a while, and it's like nobody could see them, you know. So those, right, can happen with fibromyalgia. But I also started having, right, external tremors, and started happening all on one side of my body, which is mostly left, and also some other things that indicate, oh shit, I better check to make sure I don't have Parkinson's, because a lot of the symptoms that show up in functional neurological disorder and Parkinson's uh, are very, very similar, or one of the symptoms is fibromyalgia. Okay? So, you know, for researchers and doctors and people who, you know, might have both, like if you really feel like you have two different kinds of like brain fog, um, and you understand that you're going through a fibro flare up, and so then you can tell, like, okay, well, this is a fibro fog, but then whatever this is, right, that could be dysphagia, and that means you really should, right, get with a neurologist. And some neurologists or specialists, at the very least, you know, you can get them to diagnose you with the myoclonic jerks, okay, because, well, that helps you if you're trying to get disability, or you're trying to also suss out something else, because I knew I had something that was like, that the symptom was fibro. Like for me, it's more like fibro is a symptom or is a part of an overarching medical condition called functional neurological disorder, which is similar to Parkinson's, but it's much more unpredictable, which is the very, very difficult, mentally difficult uh, situation with those two in them, just of themselves, mentally difficult, because people can't see a physical disability, and sometimes you're not tremoring, you know, out like this. Sometimes yep, you're vibrating. Your whole body's vibrating. But it can start agitating your nerves to the point where even if somebody barely touches you, it's like horrible pain, and it shoots stress all through your body. But people who have fibro, also make sure you're checking and trying to keep track of, you know, your symptoms, because if you start having symptoms that are, right, because some people with fibromyalgia also have periodic limb movement disorder, and periodic limb movement disorder is a sleeping disorder, and it's like restless leg, but the differentiation is it's not just your legs, it's your arms and your whole body moves constantly when you're sleeping. So you're actually like using up energy when you're sleeping. So instead of it just be your legs, that's restless leg, it's your entire body, and that's periodic limb movement disorder, which I have. So I do have a movement disorder, but that also, right, was one of the ways I managed to finally get to see a movement disorder clinic at Hopkins, because I had that, and I also had many symptoms that aligned with Parkinson's. So gratefully, not Parkinson's, but the combination of medical conditions I have are the the mental toughness, the mental wherewithal, the kind of darkness you got to go through, and people don't really want help. I call some of us invisible warriors that way because they can't see it with their own two eyes, and they're not doctors. They don't have somebody in their family, or they think we're making it up, but we all have physical signs of it. You understand? And sometimes it's bruising. I'm injured a lot because I lose my balance, or like my leg, I'll kick my toe. I get bruised a lot. I tore a ligament in my hip while I was sleeping several years ago because of the periodic limb movement disorder, which can also come along with fibro. Like it can come along with fibro and not have anything to do with functional neurological disorder, but it can also, right, come along with functional neurological disorder. So it's a long stretch of a crappy, terrible life. So those people who do have these kind of issues, make sure you're reaching out to people who you know understand or do research, or I mean, if you quite literally got to write letters to people, or you quite literally need to go even to a community college, like you can find, like, right, find people who like to research and study things like biological, are interested in the inner workings. Make sure that your primary care physician, PCP, or they call them general practitioner. I don't know. I think they switched that, but your main, like, family doctor, right? Okay, make sure that that doctor is an internist, okay? Because that's going to spare you a lot of trouble and pain and agony and tests, which no one in the U.S. American medical system really gives a shit about, nor the politicians apparently, or the people who claim to be, taking good care of you, which is just false. And I wouldn't suggest having an injury or getting sick in Cecil County, Maryland, if you have to beg to be taken somewhere else. Okay? These people are not exceptional. Okay? And, the president gets up and says, well, we're going to take care of the military and your families. I'm like, well, when is that going to happen, sir? Okay? But also, some of you people, like, claiming to be an Illuminati, contacted me. Oh, it's happening more and more often. And so I did. I tried. And then, the grand poobah, there ain't no way I'm calling any of you father for any reason whatsoever. Okay? Right. Grand master. Oh, yeah. Oh, we need $300 and you're going to have to come do this. And I was just like, yeah, I don't have that, man. Because apparently some asshole decided that it would be fun to mentally beat down somebody who helps other people out of the dark. And now I'm unable to help you because y'all can't fucking understand yourselves well enough. But for people who have fibro, okay, right, here's the other thing, is that if you have fibro and you have functional neurological disorder, make sure you are also checking with a dermatologist, because, like, the combination of the two seems like has something to do with hidradenitis suppurativa, which is also terrible. You get boils. They're like huge, big, zits. Like, yeah, the kind that, yeah, it's bad, and they do it on your groin. So when you're walking, like, sometimes they pop and smell. Oh yeah, we all feel sexy, but we sure as fuck don't feel loved or cared about or heard. So this is just, maybe this will help someone along the way when you're not alone. So if you really can't find anybody to talk to, who might understand some of these things, has been through them, you can always contact me. But, look locally and bother people and, advocate for yourself. And people are going to call you bitch. People are going to call you rude. People are going to call you all sorts of names, and they're going to try and tell you that you're totally mentally ill and there's really no issue, and that's a bullshit lie. So I think that the field of, psychology and psychiatry, you need to take a good fucking hard look at yourselves and understand that it's the biology and the psychology. And, no, I don't just have endo, whatever they call it, like um, depressive disorder. Like it's endo, meaning it's only coming from me. There's no reason for it. I'm like, yeah, you all crappy doctors who are nurse practitioners who I don't know where the fuck some of you people went to school, but I've never even been to medical school, and I'm still getting more things right than you guys are. I can't trust a single person with my life. That's just truth. That's the sad state of affairs on planet Earth. Anyway, so yeah, I have to get off here because I'm gonna get online. But I started this conversation off with saying that I did let some of the chatters know with the ice hockey that I was taking screenshots of some of the comments they're making. And already I found quite a few because, at game 7 loss, okay, they went on, 10, 12, 11 game losing streak, 12, I don't know. Right. At about game 7, like, oh, I'm not going to pay for tickets, and I think this is ridiculous. Eric Connolly is, barely even a goalie. I mean, you might as well just not even show up. And this team of blah 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 is nothing but garbage and yada blah 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 blah. And suddenly, I mean, one win, they won on Friday night, and suddenly, like some of these people, oh, you're back. Well, I'm temporarily coming back as a fan, but I'm not going to be a fan if you keep losing. I'm just like, well, that's not a fan. And that says a lot about you. And you need some help understanding yourself. And you probably should not be around children and elders, people like that. So, yeah, I'm ride or die with the Jets. No big deal. I'm very happy for some of these guys. I feel for Hayden Fleury. I mean, he just got back on ice. But, okay, some of those changes that were made to make hockey more exciting for you all, I'd like you to watch. The incident that got Hayden Fleury on the Winnipeg Jets sent out on a stretcher because before certain things took place in CBA year and so on, like rule changes, those kind of collisions with the boards were not happening. And I knew he hit hard because how fast his legs went up in the air behind him. You guys don't give a shit about that. Are you not entertained? So some of you just big dummies, like, oh, wishing him well. And I'm just like, oh, but you're the ones who want it to be exciting and fast and speedy. And you're the ones who, want high scoring. I mean, you can't have it both ways, people. Yeah, you're the ones who are bored. And shit like what happened to Theo Fleury, right, happened because, you guys, right, habituate. And you miss the sense of excitement and blah, blah, blah. So, right, instead of working on your own selves and trying to understand the game, because I've never been to a boring ice hockey game, ever. Okay? You'd rather put other people's lives in danger and have them beat the shit out of each other and have them wreck into each other and have situations where guys are going, right, really fast on a small sheet of ice. I mean, you guys are allowed to boldly say your bullshit all over the place. Well, so am I. And what I'm saying is not a lie. What I'm saying is truth. Anyway, so right, the Jets have a game today at 2 o'clock. Today is the first day in a year that I will be unable to go volunteer at a group home for disabled people to cook a home cooked meal. I do it every Sunday. But unfortunately, I mean, I've gotten shots for certain things, and I know I can't have the flu, and I know I can't have pneumonia, but my pulse ox saturation keeps dipping, below 90 at this point, which is not good. And I don't want to go to the hospital because they're either going to send me home even more sick or they're going to kill me in there. Your lives aren't as difficult as some others. And Jonathan Taze is just getting warmed up by other people. And Comrie is a decent goalie. Okay? If there were other teams looking for a good, solid backup who doesn't need to be trained or doesn't need to have any extra, right? I guarantee you, I'm sure I could get a team to understand. Well, you have to forgive the save percentage and other things. I mean, even the league MVP was on, a bit of a losing streak. Okay, I mean, he wasn't getting the proper kind of help, and the kind of defensive breakdowns that were happening, they weren't little ones; they were big ones. So anybody trying to, give Eric Comrie a hard time and say the guy can't stop a beach ball, you don't understand ice hockey, and you should be a better person. So go Jets go, okay? I know there's sparking up. I know these guys are trying to stick with the system. I know these guys are trying to understand, how to play that game to win. And what I'm going to say is it's just bullshit. Everybody erase that crap out of your head. Ice hockey is not a game of mistakes. Ice hockey is a game of opportunities. Okay? So if players are all concentrating on looking for opportunities, you understand? Right? That puts them in the proper kind of headspace and the proper kind of place. All right? If they look for opportunities, it's a game of opportunities. And if you really have a bad game or something happens and you realize, oh shit, you know what? I'm giving away the puck too early. You want to call it a mistake, fine. But it's an opportunity to learn. So really, there are zero mistakes. They're all just opportunities to learn, to understand how you're playing your game better. So yeah, Winnipeg Sports Talk is on Sunday, so I'm getting off of here. But, there's a lot of stuff that I'm not going to say that's nice. I'm in horrible pain. People use the level 10, I'm on like level 8. And some of it is unavoidable, and I'm not going to be able to get my new hip. Because, I'm not going to be able, surgery is getting too dangerous for me. People should give a shit about quality of life, too. Anyway, go Jets go. Always contact me if you feel like no one understands. If you have any of those medical conditions. Because I do.